The grand hall of the alien palace was silent. Thousands of eyes were watching as a group of humans stood in front of the giant throne. The throne itself was made of black crystal and towered above all. On it sat Queen Varzentha, ruler of the giant race known as the Velaria, proud, powerful species feared across the galaxy. She was 8 feet tall, her skin glowing with silver light, her eyes sharp like blades. She looked down at the humans as if they were insects. "Bring the one you call soldier," she said coldly. The guards stepped forward. One human walked out from the group. He was tall for a human. But next to the Velari, he looked small, thin, fragile. His name was Eli Grant, a quiet man with calm eyes and a strong jaw. He did not bow. He did not tremble. Varzentha raised an eyebrow. "This is your best male?" she asked with amusement. Alien nobles chuckled. "He looks like he could break with one hit," whispered one alien general. Varzentha stood and walked slowly down the steps of her throne. The hall fell even more silent. Her footsteps echoed like thunder. She stopped just inches in front of Eli and looked down at him. "You are the one they suggest to breed?" She said the word like it was a joke. Eli looked up. He didn't speak. He didn't smile. He just met her eyes and held her gaze. The queen laughed. A deep, mocking laugh. "Too weak," she said. "Too small," she added. "Too pathetic," she finished. The hall roared with laughter. But Eli didn't move. His face stayed calm. His eyes never left hers. That made her pause. She tilted her head. "Do you not fear me, human?" "No," Ellie said simply. The hall went quiet again. Even the nobles looked surprised. No one had ever spoken to the queen like that. Varzentha stepped even closer. She was towering over him now. "You should fear me," she whispered. "Why?" he asked. She blinked. No one had ever asked why before. She turned away sharply, her long cloak sweeping behind her. "Take him away. Put him with the others." As the guards led Eli away, Varzentha glanced back. He looked over his shoulder at her, still calm, still silent. That night, in her private chamber, Varzentha paced the floor. "Foolish human," she muttered to herself. "Thinking he can impress me." But she couldn't stop thinking about his eyes. They weren't proud. They weren't scared. They were steady. Her royal advisor entered the room. "My queen," the human submitted the DNA results. "I don't care. You might want to see this." He handed her the datapad. She glanced at it, then stopped. Her eyes widened. The human soldier, Eli Grant, had a genetic compatibility score of 97.9%. That was impossible. "No human has ever matched us over 30%, she said, stunned. "And none has ever stared you in the eyes like he did," her advisor replied. Varzentha threw the datapad aside. "This is a joke," she said. "Some trick, some science error." But deep inside, a strange feeling was growing. She looked at her hand. It was trembling slightly. The queen of the Velari did not tremble. Later that night, as she lay in her bed, her skin started to glow. Softly, her heart beat faster. Her breathing changed. She sat up quickly. "No, it can't be." A soft alarm lit up near her bed. Biological signal detected. Mating cycle activated. Her eyes widened. No, not now. Not with him. But the signs were clear. Her body had chosen it, had sensed Eli as a perfect mate, and the cycle had begun. The palace training arena was empty, except for one man. Eli Grant stood barefoot on the cold black tiles, facing a wall made of living stone. The air was heavy, thick with heat and silence. The Velari guards watched from above, whispering to each other. Why was this human allowed to train here, alone? He threw a punch, not fast, not flashy, but focused. Another punch. Then another. Each strike hit the training wall with steady rhythm. Sweat glistened on his skin. His breath was calm. Far above, hidden behind a shielded window, Queen Varzentha watched him. She didn't know why she was watching. She told herself it was research, curiosity, nothing more. But her fingers tightened slightly every time he moved. Still watching the human, my queen. Her advisor asked behind her. He's training. Like the others. I'm only observing, she replied. But even she didn't believe her own words. Down below, a sudden alarm beeped. A massive Velari warrior stepped into the arena. 8 feet tall. Full battle armor. Battle axe in hand. Eli didn't flinch. This is a test, the warrior growled. You will kneel, or I will break you. The arena's lights turned red. The guards leaned forward. Excited, Varzentha stood up. Eli looked up at the giant warrior. He didn't reach for a weapon, he just said, no. The warrior roared and charged. 1 step, 2, 3. Eli moved. He didn't fight with brute force, he dodged. Fast and silent, he slipped under the first swing, spun, and hit the back of the warrior's knee. The giant stumbled. Another strike. Eli didn't try to win. He didn't need to. He just refused to kneel. After 3 minutes, the warrior stopped. Breathing hard. Frustrated. Eli stood in front of him, still not kneeling. Still calm. Up in the observation deck. Varzentha's eyes narrowed. He's not just strong, she said softly. He's controlled. Her advisor said, he won't obey you like the others do. I know, she replied. She didn't sound angry. She sounded intrigued. That evening, Eli was called to the queen's private court. Only 2 guards stood outside. No nobles, no advisors. He stepped inside. The room was quiet. Soft golden light shined down from the ceiling. The queen stood alone, looking at a floating map of the galaxy. She didn't turn around. You refused to kneel, she said. Double quotes, yes. Even when threatened, yes. She turned. Their eyes met again. That silence came back. The heavy, strange silence. She stepped forward, slow and graceful. You humans are so weak, she said. But you don't act weak. Eli didn't answer. She walked around him like a predator. You were tested, watched, measured. Didn't break. Why? Eli looked at her, eyes steady. Because I've already been broken. Long ago. There's nothing left to take. Her breath caught in her throat. That wasn't strength. That was pain. Real pain. Not something you can fake. She felt something deep in her chest move. A strange ache. A strange pull. She turned away quickly. This conversation is over. But as Eli turned to leave, she said something without thinking. Would you kneel if I asked not as a queen, but as a woman? Eli stopped, then said softly, I would stand beside you. But I will never kneel. He walked out, leaving her alone. In the quiet golden light, her heart was pounding. The queen, the warrior, the unshakable leader, was shaken. The queen could not sleep. Her massive bed of glowing vines and crystal sheets felt cold. The room was silent, but her heart was not. It thumped loud, steady, and fast, faster than it ever had before. She sat up suddenly, her long silver hair falling over her shoulders. The glowing patterns on her arms were brighter tonight. She looked down at her hands, trembling. What is this feeling? She whispered. She was not sick, not afraid, not in danger. So why did her chest tighten every time she thought of that human? Eli Grant. The name echoed in her mind. His calm eyes, his soft voice. The way he didn't flinch even when facing death. She was Queen Varzentha, feared across 7 star systems. And yet, she had felt small in his presence. She stood up, trying to shake the thoughts away. She walked into her private garden. The sky above was clear, full of twin moons. Her bare feet touched the cold stone, but the fire inside her only grew stronger. She touched the center of her chest, still beating fast. Too fast. Far below, in the outer quarters, Eli lay awake on a hard stone bed. No pillows. No comfort. But that didn't bother him. He had slept in colder, darker places before. Still, something strange was happening here. The Queen had looked at him like no one ever had. Not with pity, not with fear, not even with anger, but with curiosity. He had seen that same look in the eyes of soldiers watching a weapon. They didn't understand. He closed his eyes, but her voice wouldn't leave his mind. Would you kneel if I asked, not as a queen but as a woman? He had answered with honesty. But maybe it wasn't just her who was changing. Maybe he was too. The next morning, the Queen summoned her personal healer. "Scan me," she ordered. Healer hesitated. "Is something wrong, my queen?" "Just do it." The scan began. Bright lights passed over her body. The machine beeped softly. Then it stopped. The healer's face went pale. "What is it?" she demanded. "Your heart rate is elevated. Hormone levels rising. Nerve signals unusual." "Tell me what it means." The healer looked nervous. "It matches early signs of emotional bond formation." Varzentha froze. "No, that's not possible. I haven't chosen anyone." The healer whispered, "Sometimes the bond chooses you, my queen." She turned away. Her breath caught in her throat. No, she couldn't allow this. She was queen. She was in control. She could not be falling for a human. Later that day, she called for Eli again. He entered the throne chamber, quiet and steady, but this time there was no one else. In the hall, only her. She had dismissed everyone. No guards. No servants. Just them. She didn't sit on her throne. She stood, looking straight at him. He looked tired, worn, but still strong, still unbroken. She walked closer. Closer. Close enough to hear his breath. "I want to understand," she said quietly. "Understand what?" "Why I feel this way around you." Eli didn't answer. He didn't know how. "I've seen many warriors," she continued. "Stronger, faster, bigger than you. But none of them made my body feel like it's burning from the inside." Eli raised an eyebrow. "Maybe because you've never looked past the armor before." She blinked. "What do you see when you look at me?" she asked. He didn't hesitate. "I see someone who's carried the weight of a planet for too long." Silence. Tears didn't come easy for the Queen, but something inside cracked. "I was never allowed to be anything except strong," she whispered. "Then maybe it's time someone saw you as more than just a crown," Eli replied. And for the first time, she smiled, just a little, just enough. But outside the chamber, someone was watching. A jealous Velari noble, hiding behind the shadowed columns. His eyes burned with hate. "The Queen has fallen for the human," he whispered. "This will not be allowed." The Queen screamed, not out loud, but inside her chest where no one could hear. She stood alone in her mirror room, her reflection shining from 10 different angles. Her face was calm, her body strong, but her heart, it was spinning out of control. "No," she said to her reflection. "I am the Queen of Velari. I do not fall. I do not choose weakness. I do not breed with a human." But her body was already changing. The ancient biology inside her was awake now. Her skin glowed warmer. Her senses were sharper. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw his face. Eli Grant, that quiet man who refused to kneel. That soldier with scars and silence instead of smooth words. He had not begged for her. He had not chased her, and yet he had shaken the walls of her spirit. In the council hall, alien nobles were restless. "The Queen is ignoring tradition," one of them hissed. "She has not chosen a Velari male. She speaks to the human in private. What if she dares to mix our blood with his?" The tall noble Lord Threx stood, his red cape flowing behind him. His voice cut through the room like a blade. "If the Queen dares to break our ancient line with an outsider," he declared, "she will no longer be fit to rule." No one disagreed. They had all seen the signs. They had seen her smile. They had seen her change. That evening, Varzintha called Ely to her high chamber. It was quiet. The lights were dim. The air smelled of wild flowers that only bloomed once. A year. She stood with her back to him, arms crossed. Hiding the war inside her. Ely stepped in, silent as always. "You summoned me?" he asked. She nodded but didn't turn. "There is something inside me," she said softly. "Something old. It's waking up. It wants—" She stopped herself. Ely waited. "It wants to pull me toward you," she continued. "To bond. To breed. But She turned around sharply, her eyes fierce. "I refuse." Ely didn't react. She stepped closer. "You don't understand, human. This is not some fairy tale. If I give in to this, I lose power. I lose the throne. I lose control." Ely looked at her, calm as ever. "Then don't choose me," he said. She blinked. "What?" "I didn't ask for this," Ely replied. "I didn't come here to take your power, or your throne, or your heart." His voice stayed gentle. "If this bond is real, it should be a choice, not a chain." Varzintha's lips parted. She expected him to fight for her. To beg. To want her, like the others did. But he was willing to walk away. That night, she sat alone on her throne. No music. No guards. Just silence. Her mind was a storm. She had power, respect, fear, but not warmth. Not truth. And now that warmth was walking away. Meanwhile, in the lower chambers, Lord Threx moved through the shadows with his spies. "If we kill the human now," he whispered, "the queen will be forced to choose one of us." "No," said a hooded figure. "We do not need to kill him." "Then what? We destroy her from the inside." The next morning, Varzintha woke with sharp pain in her chest. She stood, but her legs shook. Her skin burned. Her vision blurred. She touched her stomach. Heat. Pressure. Something was wrong. Guards rushed in, but she waved them off. "I'm fine," she lied, but deep inside, she knew something was breaking. She had rejected the bond, and now the bond was rejecting her. The room was made of crystal. It hummed softly, like a living heart. The walls glowed with ancient symbols of bonding, of survival, of life and death. This was the ritual chamber, hidden deep under the palace. Only the royal bloodline could enter. And now for the first time in Valari history, a human was inside it. Ely Grant stood at the center, silent, steady. Before him stood Queen Varzintha, robed in white, her long silver hair braided with golden leaves. Her eyes were cold again, but this time, something trembled behind them. "I brought you here for one reason," she said, voice sharp. "To complete the ritual. No emotion, no connection. Just biology." Ely gave a slow nod. "Understood." But inside, neither of them believed it. Not anymore. The ritual began. Blue light circled them both. Floating crystals scanned their bodies, their thoughts, their blood. The ancient machine spoke in a deep voice. "Genetic match confirmed. 97.9%. Initiating neural link." Suddenly, Ely felt a pressure in his mind. He blinked, and then he saw something. A memory. Not his own. A small alien girl running, barefoot through a field, laughing, hair blowing in the wind. Then flames, screaming. A crown forced onto her head. That little girl became the queen, alone, trapped by duty. Ely gasped. "What was that?" Varzintha's lips parted. "You saw it?" He nodded. Then her body shook, and she saw something too. A human boy on a broken battlefield, hiding under a dead soldier's body, crying, cold, alone, growing older, harder, quieter. Learning to survive by shutting out the world. The queen stepped back, her heart racing. "These are our memories." The machine's voice echoed again. Neural link complete. Emotional sync in progress. They both looked at each other. This was no longer a ritual. It was exposure. Vulnerability. Truth. The air grew hot. Lights dimmed. Their breathing cinched. For a moment, time stopped. There was no queen. No soldier. Just two souls tangled in fate. Her voice trembled. Why do I feel like I've known you forever? Eli took a step closer. Maybe because part of you has always been waiting for someone who wouldn't break under your weight. She looked down. Then whispered, I don't want to be alone anymore. He reached out, gently touching her hand. You don't have to be. Suddenly, alarms blared. The lights turned red. The ritual chamber shook. Voice shouted through the palace system. Intrusion detected in royal life support grid. Varzantha gasped. Her knees buckled. The link had made her body weaker open. Vulnerable, she collapsed. Eli caught her before she hit the ground. Blood was leaking from her nose. No, stay with me, he said, voice tight with panic. He looked at the crystals. They were flashing red. Someone had sabotaged the ritual. Eli lifted her in his arms, running out of the chamber as the emergency doors sealed. Behind them, she was burning up, but she was still breathing. Barely. In the shadows of the palace, Lord Threx watched the scene on a secret monitor. He smiled coldly. Let her bond with the human, he sneered. It will be the death of them both. The queen was dying, or at least that's what the doctors thought. She lay on a golden bed in her private medical chamber. Machines hummed around her. Silver tubes flowed into her arms. Her once glowing skin now flickered with strange colors: red, gold, and blue. Her breath came in slow gasps. The bond had changed something inside her. Too fast, too deep, and no one knew how to stop it. Except the man who held her hand and refused to leave her side. Eli Grant. He hadn't slept in 2 days. He sat by her bedside, watching every heartbeat on the screen. His hand never left hers. The alien nurses whispered behind the glass. Why does the human stay? He can't save her. He's just a man. But Eli didn't move, because he had already lost people before. He wasn't going to lose her too. Then something strange happened. Her hand twitched. Eli leaned closer. The queen's eyes opened, but they were no longer silver. They were burning gold. Varzantha, he said softly. She looked at him and smiled, but it wasn't a weak smile. It was sharp, strong, new. She sat up, pulling the tubes from her arms. The doctors rushed in. My queen, you must rest. No, she said, her voice steady. I'm done resting. She stood. The light around her body had changed. It pulsed. It shimmered like liquid fire. Eli stepped back slightly. Are you okay? She looked down at her hands. Then at him. I feel alive. Later, in the royal lab, the lead scientist gave the report. Her DNA has shifted, he said. Part of it has merged with yours. Eli frowned. What does that mean? The scientist looked nervous. She's no longer fully Valari. The queen raised an eyebrow. Then what am I? The scientist swallowed hard. Something new. But it wasn't just her. That night, Eli woke in his chamber, sweating. His muscles ached. His skin burned slightly. He stumbled to the mirror. His reflection was changing. His eyes flickered gold for a second. The bond had changed them both, not just emotionally, but biologically. Far across the palace, Lord Threx stared at the news in disbelief. She survived? He growled. She didn't just survive, the spy whispered. She's stronger. Threx slammed his fist on the table. This must end, tonight. Meanwhile, the queen stood in the ancient garden, stars above her, wind around her shoulders. Eli joined her, silent as always. She didn't speak for a moment. Then she said, Do you feel it? He nodded. Yes, the connection. It's not just in the mind, he said. It's in the blood. She turned to him. I was raised to believe humans were beneath us, that you were fragile, disposable. She stepped closer. But now, I feel stronger when you're near. Eli looked at her. I was taught to never trust aliens, to never let my guard down, but now, I want to protect you more than anything." They stood there, no crown, no titles, just two beings drawn together by something ancient, something wild, something true. And then, a blast shook the palace. The sky turned red. An explosion in the upper tower. Guards screamed. Sirens rang out. The Queen and Eli ran. The fire, through the smoke. At the center of the chaos, they found a royal guard lying in blood. He looked up and gasped. It was Lord Threx. "He says your child must never be born." Eli's eyes widened. "Child?" Varzintha froze. Her hands slowly touched her stomach. A soft glow pulsed beneath her skin. She was already pregnant. The palace was under attack. Smoke filled the air. Explosions lit up the towers. The sky above was black with fire. But in the heart of the chaos, Queen Varzintha was on her knees, not from weakness, but from something far more powerful. Birth. Her body shook. Her breath was heavy. Golden veins pulsed along her skin. Guards rushed to protect her, but she raised a hand. "Stand back," she growled through clenched teeth. "This is not the end. This is a beginning." Beside her, Eli Grant knelt, holding her steady, his own body marked with faint glowing lines. "She's going into labor," the medic shouted. "We have no time to move her." "Then we do it." "Here," Eli said, gripping her hand tighter. A queen, a human, together in the middle of a battlefield. They were about to bring hope into the world. Meanwhile, Lord Threx watched from the shadows, hate burning in his eyes. "That child must not live," he hissed. "If it breathes, the old bloodline dies." He raised his weapon and moved closer, silent, unseen, but someone was watching him. One of Varzintha's loyal guards, a silent female warrior named Cora, stepped from the smoke and blocked his path. "You will not touch the queen." Threx raised his blade. "So be it." Back in the throne hall, Varzintha screamed, but not from pain, from power. A blast of light surged from her chest. The walls glowed. The floor cracked. The air trembled. The baby was coming. Eli stayed with her, whispering softly, "You're not alone. I'm here. I've got you." Her eyes locked with his, glowing bright gold. "I feel everything," she whispered. "Life, death, fire, love." And then a cry. Clear. Sharp. Beautiful. A sound that stopped time. A child was born, half human, half Velari, with tiny golden eyes and soft brown skin, glowing faintly in the light. The queen held the baby in her arms, tears rolling down her cheeks. Eli touched the child's hand, stunned by the warmth. "It's perfect," he whispered. "No," she said gently. "They are the future." The battle outside stopped. As if the world knew something sacred had just happened. The guards laid down their weapons. Even the attackers froze. Lord Threx, bleeding and defeated, was dragged to the throne hall, forced to kneel before the new family. His eyes widened in fear. The queen stood, child in her arms, Eli by her side. "You wanted to stop this?" she said, her voice now deeper, stronger, almost divine. "You thought love was weakness?" She looked down at the baby. "This child is stronger than you will ever be." Threx trembled. "It's unnatural." "No," Eli replied. "It's evolution." The nobles gathered in silence, not out of fear, but out of awe. The child opened their golden eyes and let out another cry, a sound that sent a ripple through every Velari heart. The oldest noble fell to his knees. "The bloodline continues," he whispered, "but it is reborn better." One by one, the aliens kneeled, not just to a queen, not just to a warrior, but to a family that broke the rules and created something greater. In the weeks that followed, the galaxy watched as peace spread across borders once ruled by fear. The bond between Earth and Velari grew stronger. Trade, knowledge, and culture flowed like never before. And in the palace garden, Queen Varzentha stood barefoot with her child in her arms, Eli beside her, hand in hers. "I never thought I could change," she whispered. "You didn't," Eli said with a small smile. "You evolved." The child reached out to the stars, eyes glowing like twin suns, and the universe quietly changed forever.